Good evening, everybody. I'm Mayuri, Division Director, Division N, and I welcome you to Leadership Unveiled. Unveiled with an N, because we are Division N at District 98. This is the very first episode of the series, and it is my privilege to welcome distinguished Toastmaster Chandrashekar DP. Chandra, as we call him lovingly. So there are many aspects in leadership about Chandra, and everybody has been knowing him since a very long time. Today, there are two things primarily that I would like to discuss with Chandra, our episode today.
Good evening, Mayuri, and thank you very much for having me a part of this Leadership Unveiled, and I'm excited to have a conversation with you. Thank you.
Thank you so much. So for the benefit of viewers, Chandra is the CEO of Jain Group of Institutions. That's one part. And he's been into education for more than 18 years, leading from the front. And then the other part is Chandra has been the district director for District 98 in the year 2016, 2017. And I think it was around that time, Chandra, when I first had just joined Toastmasters. So I was a baby at Toastmasters when you were already leading from the front. And my earliest memory of meeting Chandra was at the TCS campus. This was, I think, in February 2017, probably. And to tell you all viewers over there, I was absolutely mesmerized by the storytelling that Chandra delivered that day. I was hardly 1 month into Toastmasters, and I was in awe the way the storyteller unfolded. And there was a message. There was a reason why he was telling the story. It was much later that I got to know Chandra, and I was absolutely in awe. Chandra, I don't even know if you remember that episode at TCS campus, but that's when I first met you. And it has been awesome knowing you in the last 3-4 years now, and getting inspired by every time by meeting you is an awesome experience for all of us. More particularly, Chandra, because we thank you for having played a pivotal role of helping us reach where we are today, Division N. Nagpur and Raipur, Chhattisgarh, together form Division N, and it would never have been possible without your contribution. So thank you so much on that.
Well, it's a pleasure, and I think that's the best part of telling stories, because you are forgotten, but your stories are not forgotten. So there is a story, there is a message, and then there is also the messenger. So I don't remember the exact story, but I think the objective is achieved for having shared that story. I have a friend in you who remembers it for now after 4 years from the time I delivered.
Yes.
And coming to Raipur and Nagpur, yes, I think my heart goes out to all of the Toastmaster members at Nagpur in particular, and now Raipur because it's part of the division. Because I don't know if many of you know this, but I started my professional journey in Raipur. So this 18 years began at Raipur in 2003 when I was establishing the MATS University for Jain Group. So I understood Raipur, or rather, I was immersed in Raipur to say the least. And this is a small token of my gratitude that I was of service to that region, Raipur and Nagpur, because soon after Raipur, although I moved to Bilaspur for a while, but I was shuttling consistently between Bilaspur and Nagpur in establishing my schools. So these are places where I have kind of walked on every corner of the street, and I realize the value it has given me in shaping who I am, and this is the least I can do for the Toastmasters fraternity and for those cities in particular.
Excellent, but this is something that even I did not know. So your journey was parallel in both, in your own group of schools and Toastmasters both, Raipur. Let's talk about, we will eventually open up one in Bilaspur as well, since you mentioned a new city. So first it's Raipur and Nagpur, then eventually Bilaspur also. So my first question, which Chandra normally comes to everybody's mind, is: did you always know that you would enter into leadership? I mean, of course, I'm talking about 18 years ago, or were you the accidental leader?
Well, I think all of us, in one sense or the other, are accidental leaders, because none of us are born with a silver spoon, with few exceptions here and there. And, the best part about leadership is till you are handed over the mantle in whatever capacity it is. I mean, for example, if you are a supervisor, you are a leader to many people. I keep saying this when I talk to my students. If you are in a grade 2, don't think nobody's following you. because the grade 1 students are always emulating you. So there are set of people who always try to be you, try to follow you in your footsteps. So in that context, all of us are accidental leaders, but it's what we do with leadership or the responsibility that means more than what exactly is the position you're sitting at. So I think that's what it is important. So I feel that when I became a leader in education, I was never clear that that role was something which I wanted. But then I took it upon myself. I said, I will give my best in whatever I was. I mean, another piece of trivia from my life, I started off as a housekeeping and security supervisor. So
Oh,
my first job was to handle a bunch of housekeepers and security guards. But then eventually I went on to become a facilities manager, and then operations manager, and then chief manager, and then chief operating officer, and now chief executive officer.
so in a sense, if you look at it, and I make an analogy with our club, so even starting at as a sergeant at arms is also a good enough start, right? We don't always have to start with being a VP Ed or president. Even beginning as a sergeant at arms is a good enough place for leadership.
Oh, well, absolutely. I don't deny that at all. And I cannot agree more because, in fact, so being a sergeant gives you absolute clarity about the requirement of protocols in a Toastmasters meeting. I mean, no other role in a Toastmasters setup will give you clarity about the nuances behind why these protocols are framed. Let me give you an example. This was the World Championship of Public Speaking. I think the year is 2015, if I'm not wrong, or 2014, because I was there. And when Dhananjaya Hetrachi won the contest at US,
Yeah.
I was LGM, Lieutenant Governor Marketing, and I was representing my district then, District 41, and being there. And I signed up voluntarily to be the sergeant for the international speech contest. And why did I do that? Was two reasons. One, that was the best location from where you can watch the speech, because an international speech contest will have anywhere around 4 to 5,000 people in audience, and wherever you are seated, you cannot get a best glimpse of the contestant. But as a sergeant, you are there right at the stage and you can watch. The second thing is you get unrestricted access to all the contestants,
Oh, yeah.
right? You can talk to them and come back. So these were the two inspiring things for me to sign up for that at that stage. But the fact is, there is nothing wrong or small about sergeant.
Right.
The problem is, just because it is listed at the seventh stage in that table when you say club officers, we think, okay, that is lower in the order. I mean, for lack of space on a paper, you can't list everybody on the same page or at the same plane. That apart, even a vice president education or a sergeant or a president or even a past president of the club, all of them have a pivotal role to play in the success of a club.
Mm. That's what, and there's something very strange that I keep asking myself. So we talk about communication and we talk about oratory skills and how we develop our confidence at Toastmasters. And yet the tagline says where leaders are made, not where communicators are made or orators are made. So it's always where leaders are made, right? And it's through our communication, I believe, that we end up into leadership. So tell me, Chandra, you've been into Toastmasters since a very, very long time. But all that you have learned at Toastmasters and you apply it in your leadership, of course, with the work that you do, how can you specify maybe one incident where you really realize that this you've taken from Toastmasters and applied it very, very good,fully, perhaps in your personal or professional life as well? A leadership learning, let's say.
Well, I think it's very difficult to pinpoint one learning and try to present it today. But I think the single largest reflection I have had for being a Toastmaster is that of the importance at Toastmasters we give to the values of Toastmasters: integrity, respect, service, and excellence. Now, why do I say this? In fact, if you look at it closely, the philosophy which I keep preaching as part of leadership the right way leader is a kind of a, I can say, uh, evolution from that very fact of giving respect and value to the Toastmasters values. So today's times, people talk of being transparent. People talk of being straightforward. People talk of not sugarcoating your words. But if you look at it, it all boils down to authenticity. Authenticity is about who you are deep down, and can you kind of bring that out. And in Right Way Leader, I talk about the bridge between what you say you believe and what you do.
Mhm.
Okay, it's very easy for us to say, yeah, this is the right thing to do. But if you reflect back, have you done it? Will you do it? And consistency is an important factor.
Right.
In fact, I spoke about that in my TED talk as well, on the Right Way Leader. But the fact here, if I have to answer it in one point to your question, the single largest learning and reflection from Toastmasters is trying to protect my integrity at workplace, at home, at club, or even in any other social, professional, intellectual gatherings I'm a part of. Believe in what you do and do what you believe in.
That's really very very inspiring. And I'll just share with you a very quick anecdote. About a couple of weeks ago, in one of those WhatsApp groups, I came across a few posters, images, which were not brand compliant and which needed to be modified with the club compliancy, etc. So when I corresponded with this Toastmaster, I said, see, there are two things. He said it will take time. I said, either you do the right way or you go the easy way. The right way is the thing to be done right now. Please remove them, edit them, and then follow the brand compliancy. And at that time, when I used the word the right way, I remembered you because I associate this with your little booklet and with your talks where you always focus on the right way leadership. So yes, I was reminded even during this short interaction that I had with one of our Toastmasters. All right. So my next question to you would be, you know that we are now a division, and thanks again to all of us. We are stepping now in the month of April, March, very soon April, very soon May and June, and there will be new positions, new district officers, as well as non-credit, credit, non-credit, lots of roles. Nagpur is really growing along with Raipur, and we are really very happy and proud that there are members who are becoming more and more aware about leadership roles at the division level. Now, knowing the geography, the background of these cities, what would you, as advice, give to these young Toastmasters and encourage them? And what should we keep in mind when we want to come forward into leadership?
Well, first of all, I want to congratulate all of you. I mean, all the Toastmasters who have been part of this growth journey at Nagpur in particular, because I remember those good old days when we used to travel and we had to travel only for those 2 or 3 clubs that existed. And predominantly, majority of them were in one institution, that is Raisoni. And then the Nagpur Community Club came into picture, and I think they were meeting at the VCA ground.
India Peace Center.
Yeah, the opposite to the VCA, India Peace Center, and I did participate in a couple of meetings, but it was all a family. I mean, I did remember that, one of the meetings I attended, soon after that, nobody left the place. Meeting was over, it was adjourned, but everybody were hanging around, and then we all kind of drove down to one of the members' residence, and we were having dinner over there. I mean, if I look back, that's the reason, not the dinner, but the camaraderie which existed between members helped that club to eventually branch out into an area and now division. And I must say, as I always keep saying, it is only what Helen Keller said, together we can do so much and alone we can do nothing. So it's the group of Toastmasters who were vibrant, who were passionate, who were energetic, who made this division happen. And I want to say a big thank you and show my gratitude to everyone who are part of this growth journey. Now, having said that, let's take a lesson from there. What did they do, or why did they do what they did? Did they know that today in this interview, I'm going to sit here and thank all of them by name? Actually, I have not done it. So, as Steve Jobs said, you can only connect the dots when you look back. So today we are just doing that, connecting the dots, looking back. But The dots are those bright stars who are a part of the leadership growth journey for Nagpur. Now, why am I repeating this? Is for those who are new to Toastmasters in Division N, whether you are in Raipur or you are in Nagpur, you really don't know what's in store for you in the next term or in the next year or in the next 2 years. But that does not stop us from doing what we are supposed to do today, what we need to contribute today. Because Toastmasters is all about making the world a better place. Now, and that starts with your club. That starts with you. If I can contribute in whatever manner, I should not hesitate. And that contribution, when added with few more contributions, will multiply and have this kind of an effect where a small club becomes a division and then maybe a district in the future. So it's a really boils down to only one thing. Either you are a part of it or you are out of it. So if you want to be a part of it, I don't think you need a rocket science certificate. Just go there, be yourself. Take up any role, whether it is a timer role or a leadership role or even a mentoring role. Because let me tell you, every single role you play will add up to one, your journey and your knowledge, but will be remembered by people like us or your own friends when they sit back to have a candid conversation. Because without you guys, this conversation does not mean anything.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there is one question that I'm often asked by many members in division. They say, I really don't have the time. It comes very naturally for them to say so. So time is something which I will say that for all of us, it's the same 24 hours that we get. So we always manage to find time for things that we care about or we are passionate about. So how much time would you say, let's take an example for a club officer role, which is not much actually, but anyways, club officer, or let's talk only at the area level, division level. How much time on an average do you think one needs to give, let's say, per week?
Well, I think before I give you a quantifiable answer that, okay, you got to give this many hours, let me share with you a small experience. Okay.
Yeah.
So I was mentoring a candidate or a fellow member sometime back in 2014 for a division contest. Okay, I spent a lot of time because, contesting at a division level, you are with a lot of self-doubt because you don't know whether your club speech will work there, your area speech will work there. You need to rewrite your speech, draft 1, draft 2. To cut the long story short, we spent a lot of time and it was almost like 12 to 13 drafts, which went from my computer to hers. And finally, we were ready to give the speech. But unfortunately, the person did not even turn up for the speech that day because something really went bad at her family and she was not able to make it to the contest. Division contest, she could not show up. Now, if I look back and I get angry that what happened to all the time I spent, not even my speech, it was her speech. And I really hope that she will win the speech. Now, if I sit back and give up and say, okay, it's not worth it. I spent so much time and it's really not worth it. Now, the answer to that is, well, I could have been right by doing that. But then the other is also equally right, which is, it's okay. I did not get her to see perform on the stage. But in the end, even to this day, that person is a better speaker just because of the 13 drafts we exchanged with each other.
Yeah.
Okay. And I mean, if you want to have a good, happy ending like all our Bollywood movies, the next year she was the champion for table topics. She was the champion for evaluation. She did not go for ISC, but then she did 2 winning speeches for table topics as well as evaluation. Now, why am I saying this? It's really tough to quantify and say, okay, let's do this. Let's give 4 hours every week for Toastmasters. Because Toastmasters is not a mechanical job. It's an emotional journey. We get involved in it. We connect with people. Some of the friends I have in my life for life are not even Toastmasters today, but I met them at Toastmasters. They're not even in this country, but I still am connected with them because of Toastmasters. So it's not really possible for anybody to say, okay, 4 hours every week, and I think you will become the district director in 3 years. It doesn't work that way because it's not a mechanical thing.
True. And I can totally echo the sentiments because the friends that I have made here are friends for life is the word we use. Absolutely. Even if they remain Toastmasters or not, but they become friends for life. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
True. So tell me one more thing, Chandra. When we talk of leadership, is there any leader, and now this is also outside Toastmasters, not necessarily within Toastmasters, a leader who you wish you had had the opportunity to work with and who's no longer now with us? Is there anybody in the past? Anybody, I mean, not necessarily in India, even outside, someone who's really inspired you?
Okay, so I mean, this is really personal. Many people will not even know this because he's my grandfather. In fact, I have not even met him because by the time I was born, he was no more. My dad lost him really, really early in his life. But for all the stories I hear about him, for all the photographs I've seen about him, he's one inspiring person. So it's like this role play I play every day in my life where I seek his validation after everything. I say, okay, you must be seeing it from somewhere. Am I doing it right? Am I kind of making you proud? So I wish I had a chance to showcase my work in front of him, but I could not. But if you ask me, I really wished I worked under his shadow. That's the one thing I will say. But more, popularly or kind of openly, I had this opportunity of speaking and meeting Dr. Abdul Kalam.
Oh,
And for all the stories, I met him more than thrice in my little work experience. But of all the stories, of all the books I've read about him, he is a fantastic teacher. And since I'm in education, I wish I had a teacher like him. I wish I had a boss like him because it's very, very important the kind of people with whom you are associated with. Now, if I come down one more level in Toastmasters,
hmm.
when I was a part of the district leadership, I don't want to name one person because there are so many people who are involved, but I will still pull out DTM Venkata. I hope he's a DTM now. I don't know. I'm just assuming that he is DTM, but Venkata, the past district director. The reason I say Venkata is not because he was from Hyderabad or he is a senior person. No. One conversation I had with him at a restaurant here called Chutneys, where I was new to Toastmasters and leadership came my way out of chance. And then I was confused. I didn't know what to do. So I really went up to him because I thought he was kind of non threatening. I can go and meet him and have a conversation and ask him because I somehow felt from my heart that he's one person who's going to give me a genuine answer. And the answer, what he gave, really felt that this is a wonderful place to be. I asked him, should I really consider going up in Toastmasters in terms of leadership? Because I thought it's a ladder and I need to climb. And the answer he gave was, do you really enjoy serving your friends and members in your club? If you enjoy serving them, helping them, then the answer is yes. If you do not enjoy doing that, then no matter what position you are offered, the answer is no.
That's really very profound, actually. And it goes down to
I
every
mean,
person who's asking himself this question when you come in.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. I was, in fact, I still remember that vividly. I was actually having a 1 by 2 chai with him, and I just dropped the cup because it took me a while to process this answer when he says, do you really enjoy helping people? Because I thought leadership is all about instructing people. Leadership is all about telling people to do this and not to do that. But when he put it in that perspective and he said, if you enjoy helping people, then go for it. The answer is yes. If you don't enjoy it, then say no, no matter what position is offered to you.
I really wish, of course, I really request the viewers to go back and rewind and see this thing again, because this is really very important for each one of us who wishes to come into leadership to understand that. And for the benefit of viewers, I would also like to add over here that it is Venkata who we owe largely that we are in Maharashtra, but with Hyderabad. So geographically, you could say it's Venkata who stood his ground and said, Nagpur is with us. And so that's why we are a part of Hyderabad, Telangana.
Oh, yeah. Who better than me? Because I was a part of that joint committee which was into district reorganization with Mr. Vinay Jain. And I had to literally go through a lot of rounds convincing him in terms of, I colored the India map and I said, Venkata, how is Nagpur going to be a part of it? Although I know I'm attached to Nagpur. And he says, I don't care about the geography. What I care is we share so much of bonhomie and camaraderie. There's no way that you're going to cut them off from us.
And we are so grateful for that, because we never consider ourselves to be in Maharashtra, but because we are with Hyderabad, actually. Yes, that has been simply amazing, Chandra. A very, very interesting talk, and very pertinent tips, I should say, for all the members of Division N who would like to come forward in various teams at various positions in the leadership in the coming term. Would there be any last minute mantras, tips, advice that you would like to give before we wind up?
Well, I think I don't have a quote to say and conclude like how we typically conclude our speeches, but I would like to tell you one thing. Don't look at Toastmasters as a kind of a one-line item on your resume or biodata or profile. Don't say, I was a division director, I was an area director, I was this, and I will add that so that it's a stepping stone to that. No. Create or look at Toastmasters as a place where you can totally remove your masks and go in there, because people there are not going to judge you. People there are going to accept you as you are, and then the icing on the cake is they are going to add value to you. They are going to kind of sculpt you to be a better version of you. And if you want to be a better version of you, the starting point is to be you first. Because if you can't be you, how can you be a better version of you? So Toastmasters is such place where you can just go put down all your masks, guards down, and then be just what you are, who you are, and the rest, the program and the process will take it off. It's like, you're in a stream. You don't have to swim. You just be there at the right spot. The stream is going to take you. So Toastmasters is that stream which will take you to a greater height as long as you are going to let yourself loose and be there and enjoy the flow.
That's really wonderful. I mean, I'm sure I'm going to be sharing this video and inspiring all the members in Division N to remember, just be there. And this is a very safe place, which even I say, where you can make mistakes. Nobody will judge you, and you'll just come out better. You will have learned something new, and you will just come out a better version of yourself. Yes, exactly. Thank you so much, Chandra. You were saying something.
Thank you so much, and I really want to wish this. I wish sooner than later, Division N will grow to become a district. The reason I wish this is not because I have some stake in Toastmasters. Yeah. It is just that even to this day, with 130 billion people in India, Toastmaster is still the best kept secret of India. And I don't want that to happen in places like Raipur, in places like Nagpur, in places or different parts of Maharashtra. This needs to grow. It cannot be restricted only to Mumbai and Pune. It needs to go to every part of Maharashtra, every part of Hyderabad or Andhra, Telangana and Karnataka. Because the point here is, it adds value to people and people become super confident. And once you are confident in your public speaking or your leadership, it kind of rubs off. You are a better husband, you are a better wife, you are a better mother, you are a better father, you are more confident at everything what you do. So I wish you become a district soon so that more and more people get benefited from this great movement.
Thank you so much for those words of encouragement. And we are really very grateful and very, very thankful for having had you on our very first episode at Member Leadership Unveiled. Thank you, Chandra.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I hope to see you sometime in person. I don't know when.
Yes.
Yes, whenever possible. I would love to meet you in person, and thank you again. Thank you so much.
Sure. Looking forward. Thank you so much.